Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. In my previous video, I have explained about the basic Linux theories and its fundamentals, and I have explained a little bit about Linux file system and how to navigate through the directories and the files and how to handle the files. In this video, I am going to explain a next important topic, user and file management in Linux operating systems. You may aware in Windows operating system we can able to create various user accounts for different user, so they will be having logical machine where their user workspace logically splitted. Similarly, in Linux we can able to create multiple user accounts. Since it is a multi-user operating system, multiple users can able to access the Linux operating system, Linux machine at a time. As I taught you, in Windows, administrator is the super user and in Linux, root is the super user. So let me explain how to create multiple user accounts by using our root privilege. Linux provides two functions in order to add a new user into the system: add user and user add. These names might look similar, but there are some major differences between these functions. While I am using add user function to create a new user, Linux automatically creates the user's password and the user's group, and it asks few other details of the user. But when you use user add function, it simply creates that particular user ID. It will not create the home directory for that particular user. Also, it won't specify any password unless you mention the password explicitly. Let me differentiate both the functions here. I am creating a user ID by using add user function. Now, when you give add user and the particular username, it is adding user named Robert and it is adding that particular user into a new group Robert. So we can see the group name called Robert has been created when we use this particular function, but this particular command. And also it is asking me the password. It also creates the home directory of the particular user and it copies all these files into this particular directory. Let me give some password. It is asking me the full name of the particular user. It also asks the few other details. Now I created a user called Robert. Let me use another function user add to create another user. I'm going to show you what is the difference. Simply the user named Kumar has been created. It hasn't created any other details such as home directory, group, even the password is not created. I'm using simple function called switch user. You can see it simply switched to one particular place. I don't even know which directory it is. So it simply switched into the same directory, but there is no password and dedicated home directory for this particular user. Let me switch back to root user. In order to mention the password directory details explicitly, we can refer the man file of the user id function. Here we will be able to see the flags that we need to use in order to create the home directory, and you can see few other options. Same as we have two functions to add the new user, we also have another two functions to remove the existing users. The functions are del user, del user and user del. Earlier I have created an user called Robert by using add user function. Now I am removing that particular user using the del user function. I am taking only single command. Here I received a pop-up. The user Robert is currently used by this particular process. Then I looked for the process. The particular process is running this name. So I am not able to remove that particular directory. So I am currently in that particular users directory. I'll tell you another way to remove the user information completely. All the user informations will be stored in the directory called etc passwd. Let's go to that particular directory. etc is the directory, and I need to look for the file name. Now I am in the particular file. So this is the file where all the Linux user IDs will be stored. I can see the root ID, the manually created user entry generated as a last entry. When you remove this entry, the user details will be removed. We remove the user ID. We also need to remove the passwords. The passwords are stored in another directory which is called shadow. Shadow is a file. Pardon me, shadow is the file. So here you can see the passwords for the users we created. It is in encrypted format. So we can remove those entries. So this is how you need to create the user details. So manually created users are no longer exist. So in order to create or remove a user, super user privilege is needed. You have to carefully listen the word super user privilege, because I didn't mention it as root user privilege, which means apart from the root user, even the ordinary user can able to perform certain administrator tasks. But in order to do that, it needs some special privilege called pseudo privilege. Let me explain what it is. Pseudo is a special privilege which allows an ordinary user to use the super user commands. It is similar to run as administrator option in the Windows. So this particular pseudo privilege will be defined by the root user. A file called sudoverse hold the information about pseudo user privileges for every user. I can show that here. Sudoverse, it's a file. So I'm using nano editor. The root user has all the privilege, all the super user privilege, but here we don't see any manually created user. Now I logged in as a non-root user. I am in top level directory. Let me try to open the root users home directory, which is nothing but root directory. I don't have privilege now, so I am simply gonna open that. So it shows permission denied. This particular non-root user doesn't have the permission to access the super users directory. As a non-root user, even I cannot make change in the sudoers file. You can see the permission denied. So again I logged in back as the root user. I am allowing the same root users privilege for the non-root user. I am mentioning the username and I am copying all the details. Now it is done. Now I logged in as a non-root user. Still I don't have the permission. Let me add the word sudo in front of the command. It asked me the password of the non-root user. Let me give it. You can see now I can able to log in. I can able to view these details. Though I logged in with my sudo privilege, I'm still not having any write or execute access. I'm still only having the read access. I'll explain you why we are getting this. Even in my earlier videos, I explained Linux operating system is more secure compared to other operating systems like Windows. This is the reason. You know very well, in Linux, everything is file. So it may be a configuration file, or it may be a process, or it may be a binary file. Everything is stored inside a directory as a file. The file and directory can be accessed by three set of users. The first set is the user, I mean the owner of that particular file or directory who created that. So usually the owner of the file will be having the super user privilege for that particular file, and the group to which this particular user belongs to. The people present in this particular group can also be able to access this directory and file. And the third category is other users, the users who are not belongs to this particular group. The beauty of the Linux is one particular user can be a part of multiple groups. Also, we can able to define which set of user should access one particular file or directory. That is how the Linux becomes more robust and solid secure. I am already in top privilege directory. I am listing out the number of available directories and file. It gives me a lot of details. Each and every information, each and every characters present here denotes something. As a root user, I am making a directory called Mary, let's say. Now this particular directory belongs to root user, and the second column denotes the group. The group name is also root. So if you want to know the username and the group ID details of a particular user, you can simply use a command called id, and you need to enter the user id. It gives the user id and the respective group id details. Now, as I said, the root user holding the ownership of Mary. I can able to switch the ownership of the particular file or particular directory to another user. Let me do that. For that, I'm using the function called chown. I switch the file's ownership to John. The syntax is ch1 space the username that we are going to switch. John colon and the group name to which the John user belongs to. Finally, the file name. It is done now. You can see this particular file Mary is owned by user John and it belongs to the group John. This is how we need to switch the ownership of one particular file or directory. Can you see these digits and letters over here? Actually, those letters mean something. There are totally 10 digits. The first digits indicates whether this particular item is file, directory or link. If it is D, then it denotes the directory. If it is L, then it denotes the files linked with symbolic linking. To know what is symbolic linking, you can refer my previous video, and to denote the file it uses hyphen. It is hyphen, then denotes the file. So from digit 2 you can consider three digits. First 3 digits indicates the user permission of that respective file, and the second 3 digits indicates the group permission of that particular file, and the third 3 digits indicates the privilege that others have towards that particular file. R denotes read access, W denotes write access, and X denotes execute access. With that info we can say this file called nano has the read and write privilege for the file owner and read privilege alone for the people who are in its owners group, and it has the read privilege for everyone else. Root user or pseudo privileged user can able to modify this particular file permissions. So to modify the file permission we are using a function called chmod. So this is the syntax format. We have to enter 3 digits in between the chmod and the file name, which is going to define the permission for the particular file. Let me tell you, in these 3 digits we can use either numerical values or alphabets. With the numericals, let me explain. The first digit represents the privilege for the owner of the file. Second digit represents the privilege for the group which the user belongs to, and the third digit represents the privilege for the other users who are not belongs to that particular group. I am giving an example. If I use combination 1 2 4, the file owner will be having the execute privilege, and the group to which the owner belongs to will be having the write privilege, and all others will be having the read privilege. If I use 777, then it defines access to all the users for that file. Also we can use 0, which denotes no privilege. If I am giving 770, it won't give any privilege, not even a read access to the other users. So this is how we need to define the privilege by using the numericals. So let's apply for this particular file. So note down the particular privilege, note down the current privilege for this file nano. I am modifying it with 777. So I am giving total access, complete access to that file. I gave. Now you can see the privilege changed. Now all the users can able to read, write and execute this nano file. So this is how we need to modify permissions for one particular file or directory. So in order to modify this, please remember the user has to be either root user or they have to use the root privilege by using sudo. Apart from using the numericals to define the privilege, we can also use alphabets. So if you use the alphabets U, it denotes the owner of the file. If you use G, then it defines the group. If you use O, then other users, the users who are not in as a part of group. And if you denote A, then it defines all the users. Then R for read, W for write, and X for execute. So I gave the total privilege to this particular file, right? Now I can able to remove one particular privilege for this file by using the alphabets. Let me do that. Here I'm gonna remove the execute privilege for the other users. So for other users, I have to mention O and I need to mention the operator minus. So it removes a permission. I'm removing execute privilege. Now I have done that. The change has been applied. Now the other users don't have the execute access. If you want to add one privilege to that user, instead of this minus operator, you may use plus operator. It again added. Also, instead of O, if you define A, then it represents all user, group, and other users. By now, you may have got an idea about the user and file management in Linux operating system. It may be little bit difficult for beginners while starting, but it is really worthful to learn the Linux operating system as it involved in so many places. If you do like what I am doing here, you can hit the like button. Also, you can consider subscribing my YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you will be able to get the notifications whenever I am posting a new video. I would like to thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.